right, welcome back to Off the Tap. This week is episode 101, and we're doing Lemon Icebox Pie from Martin House Brewing Company.
This is my 70th. So
70.
I hit a rounded off. Look, so that's we talked about this last week. That's all you're like, thank you for trying to celebrate me, Mr. 101. You know what I mean?
No, but I mean, it is a big deal, though.
I mean, yes, it is. I mean, it's just because it's a round number, it feels powerful. Like 70 feels for me bigger than 101 because but you have done 101. So like, thank you for the kudos, but like you've been here a little bit longer. Even
Yeah.
Ted, I found this out recently. Sorry, real quick before we get into the Icebox Pie. I found this out recently. I've said multiple times that Cheers is my favorite sitcom of all time. You know, there's only two characters that are in every single episode.
No, I did not know that.
And everybody just immediately goes, "Oh, Ted Danson, right? Sam."
Yeah, but
And
it's not
no,
him. No, he's
it's
not in every
not.
episode.
No, George Wendt, so Norm,
Okay.
and Cliff Clavin.
Okay.
They're the only two.
That's kind of crazy.
That's crazy. And I mean, it kind of
Yeah.
makes sense if you think about, I mean, it's crazy that Ted Danson's not in all of them because he's the main character.
Yeah.
And then obviously we know like Diane left and all the other stuff, but that's just crazy to me. Like it makes sense because they are bit parts that they have it's easier for them to be in more episodes because there's not as much written for them. You know what I mean? Anyways,
Right.
we'll
Yeah.
get back to that later. But so you are the norm of off the
Right.
tap as
Right.
far. But
Well,
you're never gonna have an opportunity to not be.
well,
You
I
know what I
mean,
mean?
it'd be kind of hard for me not to be on it. I mean, someone
That's what I'm
else would have to
saying.
take the reins, so
And
it'd
have to
be
do all the work, basically, is what you're saying.
yeah, I mean, it'd be kind of messed up for like someone else to go and record an episode and then be like, "Here you go, edit this."
No, yeah,
Like I'm the little, worker boy.
yeah, I do that for 70 episodes now, though, if you think about
Well,
it.
you're not doing all the work though, I'm
No,
showing
I'm
up
saying
too.
I've done nowhere. I'm the one that's basically like, hey, go edit this and post this. I mean,
Oh,
not that
well,
I
I
have
mean,
any. I'm just saying.
no, yeah. I guess I just said that wrong. I mean, like you're not going and recording without me though. Like I'm here.
No, 1,000%. So brewed and
Uh,
canned by Martin House Brewing Company. I have high hope. Like, dude, this is
yeah.
either going to be. So first off, we've had some other Martin House. We need to look this up, okay, before you give me the stats. But Martin House, all they do is off the wall shit, right? Do they have any regular stuff?
I honestly don't know, but I can't look up their website while I'm on stream because they have music on their website, and I just found
Uh,
this out. So I was looking up the stats and
it's not an
stuff.
option. What
Uh,
is this? MySpace?
I mean, you can mute the tab, but I didn't really think to do that. But
Oh fuck.
I was like looking it up, and I was also watching the Astros game in the background on my computer. And so I
Hmm.
was like, why is this just random music playing over the broadcast right now? That was not the case. It was just their website that was doing that. So,
Yeah, I'm not getting any of that, but let's just go to beers. So they do. They have some regular. They got a Friday IPA, True Love. Nope, True Love Raspberry Sour Ale. I'm gonna
okay.
consider that kind of a mix. They've got the Bach Slider, which is a Texas Bach. They got the Martin House Pills, but dude, the Salty Lady Ghosts, the Double Indian Red Ale Imperial Texan,
Hmm.
and then obviously the Best Made collabs.
Right. Yeah. I'm
Um,
pretty sure we've done one of their pickle beers on here, which
we've
I
done
think
two, right?
I don't know if we've done two on here, but we've had a bunch of them. Um, anyone I'm not a fan of pickle juice, like
The
outside of
fuck?
beer. I was never a fan of pickle pops. Never a fan of pickle juice in general. I mean, I would drink it when I would get cramps, because it's supposed to help you or whatever, but I'd never really enjoyed it. But for some reason, the pickle beer does something for me, man. I could drink it all day. And so, yes, I also have very high hopes for this because it's another sour from Martin House. And I think that's kind of their thing, like you're talking about, is like they do a lot of, regular, or they have a lot of regular beers too, like regular pills, regular box and stuff, but they seem to do a lot of off the wall weird sours, and I'm about it. I'm about it.
Dude, they have the one called the Surgent USA. It's a
Hmm.
whiskey barrel aged fruited cheesecake sour.
Oh God.
Dude, 12% though.
Whew.
That is not
Wow.
this one. We're gonna get back to lemon icebox here in a minute, but one thing I will say about Martin House is that they get crazy out there. Like I remember when we saw the sour pickle and when we saw the sour pickle raspberry, right? I think is that the
Yeah.
other one. It's like they mix lemonade in
They
with
got
it.
raspberry. They got a fruit punch. They got a spicy.
Yeah, and I
Maybe it
was
was the
like,
fruit punch one that you
fuck.
and I
I think
had
we had
together.
Yeah, and it's not as good as the regular sour pickle, but it's
No, but it's still
surprisingly good.
good.
It is. And
Yeah.
so the fact that they're doing crazy off the wall things but pulling them off is what gives me high hopes for this. If it
Right.
were somebody else that I'm not just tooting Martin House's horn here because I thought it was very gimmicky. Everything I've had from them that's not I think I have had the pills, but everything else I'm like this is super gimmicky. And then when you taste it you're like, "Ooh, fuck, it's good." You know?
Yeah.
And so this I feel is a little gimmicky, but if it were anyone else, I wouldn't have faith in the gimmick, but I have
Right.
faith in their gimmick.
Yeah.
Also, I just love lemon icebox pie, which we're going to get into in a minute,
Mm.
but also I can like just saying it out loud and looking at the can, I can taste it. And so I hope that at least some of that carries through when we actually
Yeah.
drink this.
Yeah.
Anyways, you got the stats on it? What has it got?
Yeah, so this is coming in at 5.4% ABV
Okay.
and 18 IBUs. So
So hey,
pretty
it's gonna be pretty light on the IBUs, but I got 5.2 on the can for what it's worth.
okay.
Seasonality, obviously, but
Right.
it's a sour brewed with lemon and graham crackers.
Yeah, I remember whenever we bought it, the graham cracker thing, I
Oh,
was like, "Ooh, that sounds
you
interesting."
oh yeah,
No, no, no,
you were
not
not for it?
no, not necessarily in a bad way. I was just like, "That sounds I don't think I've never had a beer with that's brewed with granola
Okay,
or
so
graham cracker. I mean, sorry. Yeah, I mean,
it's got a little bit of not hazy, but I mean it's a little bit of a like a weird color.
cloudy.
Yeah, cloudy a little bit. I know we keep going back to urine, but I mean maybe that's the standard.
Cloudy with a chance of lemon
Cloudy with a
icebox.
Okay, yeah. I get graham on the sniff. I get graham cracker for sure. Obviously, the
Yeah, I
lemon's
do
there.
too.
I do get a little bit of like crafty sour, and then also
Oh
I do get a
man.
little bit of spoilage. But
Oh gosh, here we go again.
okay, I'm sorry. I don't think
No,
that's gonna be the case. Here we go.
I'm not. I'm getting. Oh gosh, almost spilled mine. I'm getting. I mean, I'm getting lemon for sure.
Yeah, there's definitely lemon in there. Did you give it a little hit yet?
Yeah. You know what else I'm getting? A little bit of in the smell and actually in the taste a little bit. What it's almost kind of like a cheesecake flavor
Mm-hmm.
going on.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Um, man. Uh, Yeah, this is taking me way off. When I think lemon, I don't even want to give it away because this is gonna be too telling. But icebox pie is like a I don't know late spring summer for me. I like that. A
Okay.
lot of people, I think that's not the taste this is giving me, which I'll wrap with what my WWYBD / seasonal
Yeah.
whatever. But maybe it's just because it's I don't know. Lemon is always summer. We talked about this infinitely, but lemon is summer,
Yeah.
and it's super refreshing. And icebox, it's cold, and it's like a Jello custard kind of, or meringue custard. And then the graham cracker, I like the way the graham cracker is just firm enough to get it in, but then dissolves immediately. You
Just
know what I mean?
immediate. Yeah. Yeah.
It is a temporary vessel to carry that custard into your mouth.
Extremely temporary. There's no going back. You're not spitting it
No,
out. You know what I
dude,
mean?
but no. And you can't really cut. In fact, you really can't cut it after a while, especially as hot as it is here in Texas. By the time you plate that sucker and carry it to where it's going, mm-mm,
Yeah.
it's a mess.
No. Yeah, for sure.
Um, I don't get any. Yeah, 18 seems kind of high. I would say it's way less bitter than that.
Well,
Most of the bitterness is sourness, I think, coming from the lemon.
yeah, I guess so. Because I was gonna say, I think a lot of sours are pretty around that area, but no, sours are lower. They're like in the single digits almost. based on our previous um, beers. But yeah, it definitely doesn't feel like an 18 for me either. I'd say that it feels pretty normal sour wise.
This one's going to be tough because obviously I've had other sours and I've had lemon sours and we can go with shandies, but I can definitively say that I've never had anything brewed and or flavored with graham crackers.
Yeah, I know. It's interesting, you know. I'll tell you what I have had is a s'mores beer.
Well,
What
not good.
was not I'm not it was a milk stout, right? So
Oh, okay.
I'm just not a
Every
big.
time.
It was well, I've had two actually. One of them not good. One of them okay. You know, I would get it
There were
again,
two
but
s'mores milk stouts.
well, one wasn't a milk stout. One was a milk stout. The other one was just a stout. I don't know
Okay.
what kind of stout, but and it was stout. I know that much.
Well, did it taste half-ass okay?
The milk stout did not. No, no, it was not very good. But I'm not a fan of milk stouts in
I know
general.
that's what I'm saying. So it's kind of like,
So maybe it was
take
right
it
on
with a grain.
par. You know what I mean? The other one tasted pretty good though. It,
Um,
it was close enough.
they kind of go all over with their brand, which I think that's consistent in and of itself. If you think about it, the fact that they're always different is
Yeah.
consistent. They don't have any consistency. But I like this one. It's like without being offensive, but it's like 1950s housewife with an icebox cake.
You know what it reminds me of a
Um,
little bit, and
what?
I'm not trying to plug another brewery, but it reminds me of the Southern Star Bombshell, like
Yeah,
blonde. You
she
know?
has a very she has a very bombshell look, but she's
Yeah.
redheaded.
Yeah. No, just like that same kind of like style, I guess. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I like it as well. I didn't get a chance to really look at the all the colors and whatnot. Is there anything written on this one?
You mean as far as story?
Yeah, usually we get
She
a little story.
I don't see any story. I don't have anything. Nope. It does contain lactose though for those that are intolerant.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's good to know.
So you're not just fighting.
The
Does that
beer bubble
mean?
guts.
Oh yeah, but is it gluten free but contains lactose? I'm all over the place here.
I don't know. Well, what are graham crackers gluten free? I don't know.
No, I wouldn't imagine so.
I would imagine
I
it's
don't. I
not
don't know.
gluten
Maybe they
free.
are. Maybe they're like a shortbread or something. I don't know for sure, but beer normally isn't. Um, whoa, bud.
Whoa.
Yeah, that snuck out of nowhere. I
Off the
get.
rip.
Do you ever watch Mad Men? I know that she's not redheaded, but I get Betty Draper vibes. I don't know if you ever.
I've never watched Mad Men. No,
Okay.
I need to. I've heard about it a lot, but I've never gotten around to it.
So where are you at? I'm sad to say this. I don't think I've ever made a lemon icebox cake from scratch.
I know I've never made one, but I've had quite a few.
Oh yeah.
So, I've dipped my hands in a fair share of lemon icebox pie. You know what I mean?
Um,
Yeah, I've never made one though. But I've never made any kind of pastry on the face of the
yeah,
planet. So,
I guess that makes sense, but um, yeah, I don't think I've ever made one from scratch. I don't know if they come in a kit.
oh,
Maybe they do,
they
maybe they
gotta
don't.
come in a kit, dude. They have to.
Possibly. But what I love about it though is that most other pies you can occasionally do in a graham cracker crust, and people are like, it's an apple, but it's got a graham cracker crust. The lemon ice box was designed for blue collar America, and
Oh
it is
yeah,
just straight up only in a graham cracker crust,
yeah.
and it's literally lemon custard, and then sometimes whipped cream on top. I feel like a lot of times we didn't always have whipped cream on top of them.
No, no, we did not. But that just depends on who's making it. That's kind of you know any kind of pie is kind of like that, like a key lime. You know what I mean? Sometimes on a key
Mhm.
lime they don't throw the whipped cream on top, but
Brings
sometimes you
brings
do.
me to a good question. This is going to divide a lot of people here because I love a good key lime. I think I like a lemon ice box better. What's your thoughts?
Really,
Yeah, I know that's
I'm a key
surprising.
lime guy. I'm a key lime guy.
I love key lime, but I think lemon ice box is a little bit better. Just real quick, we didn't start down this pathway. The beer led us here. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
This is fine for this episode. Like we always bitch about going straight food or going straight music. And this
Hmm.
one we're justified because their Martin House is fucking with us on this one.
Yeah. It is. It is quite literally a food beer.
Yeah.
So, um,
Speaking of food beer,
speaking of food beer, what do you mean?
I was just practicing one of my segues, one of my transitions. Speaking of food beer, let's talk about food ball. Is that gonna stay in? Do we need to
Food
pause and
ball.
clip
No,
that?
yeah, no, we're rolling with that. We're
Okay,
rolling with all this.
sweet. Talk about talk about food beer. Let's talk about food ball.
Yeah. We
All right.
yeah, it is almost football season again. Um
Wow.
I'm pumped up. I for the first time in a long time being a Houston football fan, you have something to be kind of excited about this season. And then also I'm just extremely pumped up for college. And I know you and I talked about that.
Yeah.
And that's I think what we're both equally excited for. Which again, I was excited last year a little bit, but not as much as I am this year. But I also think it's because as I'm getting older, I'm getting a lot more of an appreciation for fall weather, right? And fall weather
Oh,
is obviously synonymous with football. And so
yes.
every time that I think like, oh, I can't wait for football, I'm not thinking like September 2nd, September, beginning of
Hmm.
September. I'm thinking like November/December here in Texas football, where you walk outside and there's a nice crisp feel in the air. It's almost kind of like a little bit. You step outside first, and it's kind of like the first breath's a little bit more difficult than normal. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
But then it sets in. That I'm just ready for that. I think that crispness, being able to like actually sit outside, maybe even watch the game outside again. You know what I mean? That's what I'm waiting for mostly.
I've always been more of a summer guy, 100%. I've always
Yeah,
said
me too.
I hate being cold. I'd rather sweat my ass off than be even remotely cold. But I think with age, it does change you. And I think I don't we talked about this a lot. I don't necessarily look forward to the holidays associated with I mean, let's not call football a holiday, but I don't it's not like, oh, it's cold, Christmas is close, or oh, it's cool, Thanksgiving is close. It's
Yeah.
not That's not what's happening in my mind. I'm literally going, oh man, it's comfortable to be. I feel I'm happier in the morning a little bit these days. I'm more apt to be motivated in the afternoon. I just for where we live, like today, for instance, right? Because I work from the house. I had stuff I started early in the morning, and then at like 11, I had about like a 45-minute break, and we had some stuff that was still strewn out from the weekend with the kids playing in the backyard. And so I was
Yeah.
like, hey, let me run out real quick and pick that up. Fuck, dude. I literally had to come back. I only could do it for 20 minutes because I had to take the other 20 minutes to go shower and put clothes back on so that I was presentable to be with
To be
people
on
again.
some Zoom calls.
Exactly. And that literally 25 minutes and I was soaking wet. And I was like, that is why I think more and more on the weekends it doesn't bother me, but for daily work, that's why I like the fall because I can wear the same clothes all day long and be
Right.
socially acceptable.
No, yeah, that's definitely not why I like it more, but that's a valid reason. I think I just, I can't physically, my body doesn't allow me to stay outside in this heat
Yeah.
for more than 20 minutes anymore without me shutting down. And so I just
I
enjoy, I mean, I think everybody can get on board with it. I don't think anyone's being like, "Oh, no, yeah, y'all are weird for wanting to be outside longer, more comfortably." But I'm just saying I think that's what my excitement for football has I mean, I'm excited for the
but
games too, but like that's part of it because
I
that's a
also
synonymous thing.
do you enjoy because I feel like which I don't really watch NFL football. I mean, I'm not like anti. I just don't really like but I feel like college football earlier in the season is not as exciting to me. I think because of the weather. And not because we're further into the season, but I'm talking about like that middle chunk where like,
Yeah.
dude, everybody's in the stands and they're doing the pregame and like it's not everybody's super bundled up, but you occasionally can see the puff of air when people are having conversations
Mm.
and you're like, oh, it's fall. And
Oh,
the
it's
leaves
happening.
change, all the sets they always have. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, That's my favorite. That's what I think of. In fact, I always forget that it is hot at the beginning of the season, to be honest with you.
Right. Yeah.
Because to me, the season isn't like it's not college football until it's a little cool outside.
Yeah. No, I agree 100%. So you obviously not being super pumped up for the NFL, have you watched any of the preseason at all?
No, I have not. I haven't even followed. Normally, there's a ton of like memes or things that have already come out by now, or like at least some of the reporting, right? And I haven't
Yeah.
even I haven't even seen any of that or followed any of that.
No, man. So
There's some crazy
they
shit going on.
well, they're doing a new kickoff. They're
What?
they're they're doing a new kickoff where everybody stands. Your kicker is all the way back in the normal spot still, but the the kicking team's line stands up on like the opponent 35 or something, and the kicker has to land it in between the 20-yard line and the 0 or the goal line, right? And the kicking team line can't move until the guy catches it, and then everyone goes. And listen,
Why?
it's supposed
Is
to
this
cut down.
to,
It's like for player safety thing, I guess. I don't know the whole.
didn't we eliminate that by it being a touchback every kickoff?
Listen, I yes, yeah, we essentially yes. This is it's supposed to, I think, like help player safety a little bit, but also make kickoffs more exciting, so
Hmm.
that there is a more chance for kickoff returns without people running so much. I guess I don't know.
You know what made
Um,
kickoffs really exciting? When people were running it back and just getting absolutely
absolutely,
fucking crushed.
yeah,
That's what made kickoffs
exactly.
exciting.
That's what I'm
Just
saying.
some
Is
dude
like
getting ripped off of his feet from 40 yards out.
just seeing one dude fly across the screen looking like a spear. You know who it was? It
Just
was DJ Swearinger. That's who it was every year. We I
just
always make this
erasing
joke.
somebody's upper body.
There was a guy that used to play for the Texans, DJ Swearinger. He went around a couple teams. I think the Bucks, the Cardinals, maybe. But I always made the joke that he had the most screen appearances, but the least amount of screen time of anybody in the NFL, because
Just
he
because of
would
his
just
speed.
fly across the screen. The play would be dead, and you would just see him shoot across the pile. Just not even stay on the pile, just jump over it like a freaking spear.
Was he effective at all, or was he the equivalent of a guy in a warehouse that just looked busy when people walk by? Like what?
Yeah. Yeah, he was pretty much that. I mean, when he hit somebody, it looked painful, you know what I mean? And he made some good hits, but for the most part, he was just like, yeah, I got to look like I'm doing a good job, you know what I mean?
My I, I like there's certain things that are associated with football season that I love. The fact that everybody is committed to it on Sunday, for the most part, Sunday. It does create a lot of chit chat in and around the office and or work. There's a whole sense of um a different level of bullshit talking that happens throughout the like in a good way,
Yeah.
camaraderie bullshit, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um whether it's college or not. And then for college football, there's just so many people that you're like, really, I never would have taken you for being so dedicated to that. You're just like,
Mm.
I've known Nancy down the street, but I didn't think I'd see her topless at an Iowa State game, just something
Did
like
not
that.
realize she was that diehard of a Jets
Yeah.
fan, you
She
know?
has a full back spread and it's just the
It's just
Huskers. Like, what is
she's got a full back tent. It's just eagle wings. That's all.
it?
Yeah, that is true though. It does. Even people that like, I have friends that don't even watch football, and when football season's around, they're like, so, and they start talking about football. You know, and they're like, so
Yeah.
how are the Chargers doing this year? And I'm like, bro, the Chargers?
Yeah. Where you been?
What are you talking about? How are the Bucks doing this year? What do you mean? What, do you just keep up with the Bucks because Tom Brady played for them for one season? Is that what's going
That's
on?
probably that. And then I do. It's the things that are associated with it. Like I love we talked to whatever. I love hot wings. And I don't necessarily love NFL football, but if there's an opportunity for me to go and be with a group of people and to eat hot wings, it's great.
Oh yeah.
Um, or
I
um,
also consume the most. Yeah, I consume like my annual. I consume most of my wings during football season. You know what I mean?
you know,
And I don't have to do that. I have a wing stop right here in the city. You know what I mean? Right
I
here.
don't I don't
Right.
have to do that,
I don't
but
have
I
to do
do
that. I
it
can
for
eat
you.
wings whenever I want. But when in football season, as they say.
I win in football season, as they say. It's also going to be pretty interesting, obviously, with some of the changes on the college football front. I think we're really going to
Oh yeah.
see, yeah,
I think we're
dude.
gonna see a lot of we're gonna here's the thing is we're gonna see a lot of better matchups and a lot of worse matchups also.
Oh yeah,
Um, but yeah, I'm excited for the big changes. Also, I mean, a lot of realignment happened, but the SEC got Texas and Oklahoma, and that's not a huge addition in terms of SEC, but it is going to make a difference. You know what I mean?
I think
Um,
for Oklahoma and UT fans is where it's going to make the difference.
oh, it's going to be huge. I mean, it's going to be huge for them. I'm just talking about SE. Like, it's not a huge acquisition in terms of like SEC, right?
No,
With everything they've got, but it's still pretty significant, and it's going to make for more, like I'm saying, more fun matchups. I think better
I think
matchups in that case.
yeah. Plus, I mean, obviously it's year one, so
Yeah.
it's only going to get better. But I'm pretty excited for that. I've also been telling Kate, obviously not that Nichols is such a massive football college, but we've been telling ourselves for well over maybe 15 years. No, not 15, but at least a while now that we were going to go back for a home. Yeah, dude, for me it's been almost 15 years that we were going
Oh
to
my God.
go back for a homecoming, and we haven't even gotten close. So maybe we should.
Yeah, you got to do it at least once, man. I tell you what, I've never been to a single Sam Houston football game and or baseball game and or basketball game
I think I went to a one basketball game one
and or
time,
softball
and
or volleyball.
no,
Yeah, no, I've never been anything. And that's 30 minutes from my house. So,
yeah, there's really no excuse.
I
I've got to
really
drive at
have
least 6
zero
hours.
excuse. And I'm also a student, so I get discounts. There's a really no excuse at all. So, um, another thing that I see or I've been seeing a lot of it kind of comes around every football season, right? Because obviously the fall is like a big time to get married, right? I
Hmm.
know, I mean, y'all got married in the fall. I
Yep.
know three of my other friends that got married in the fall. You know what I mean? Um, all pretty much within a month uh, from each other,
Yeah.
and it's during football season. And I'll tell you what, you want to find a quick way to get some people mad at you. It's to get married on like college football Saturday, like
It is,
rivalry weekend. You know what I mean? That's
but for here, we don't have very many options. You don't. It's too hot all the way up until October, and in fact, it wasn't super cool at our wedding, and it was early October if I remember correctly.
no, yeah, it was not very cool. It wasn't at all. And we were in starched blue jeans and
That's what I'm saying. And so, and then you get into like, you can't do it at like Thanksgiving and Christmas. So, January, it's just you have a very short window. So yeah, you're
you
right.
do.
There's a chance it's going to fall on a rivalry unless you just fuck it, say Thursday or Friday, you're going to get
That's
married.
that's what I've been saying. Just people just need to start sending it on a Friday. Look, if less people can come, that's less expense, right? You don't have to pay
Hmm.
for as much. And then those people that don't come, maybe they shouldn't have been coming in the first place. You know what I mean?
I thought about this. You should also have now. Have you seen? Which I'm not promoting this. Obviously, we have zero sponsorships. But have you seen the new Google Pixel thing, the new phone or whatever?
The one that translates like in real time.
Yeah, it does that. But also, a lot more useful is this next thing I'm going to tell you.
Oh
you
God.
can you can take a picture, and then like the picture stays live, and the people
Hmm.
can walk out of it, and then somebody else can walk in and stand, and you can position them within the picture and then snap it again, and so it's like everybody's in the picture even though there were people missing. Does
Oh
that make
my
sense?
God. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
amazing.
it's kind of like live action Photoshop, if you will. Okay. And if you have a Thursday wedding, you could just Photoshop all your fucking buddies into it.
Yeah,
Save
that's
cash and
true.
Photoshop them all in with the Google Pixel 9 now available at your local retailers.
Yeah. That, hashtag
Um,
not an ad.
no. Also, way more important than real time translating. I mean, let's be let's be honest.
I mean, yeah, that's gonna get the most use for sure. I've just been seeing, because I agree with that. I mean, I'm kind of like, dude, if it like on a rivalry weekend, bro, get out. Like, what are we doing? I'm gonna have to be watching on my phone or something. I gotta have it on somewhere.
Yeah, it is kind of good though to do that because then at least you. This is gonna sound bad, but at least you have something to do while you're like getting married. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I'm saying? There's a lot of downtime. There's a lot of downtime, and it's bullshit if somebody says there's not. Okay, there's a lot of down. It's a hurry. Getting married is a hurry up and wait. It's there's like you're constantly just standing around.
You're constantly doing a lot of nothing.
Exactly. It's
Yeah,
like a couple of very quick things you have to do that are spread way out. So you might as well fill it with rivalry football
yeah,
and
that's
ice
true.
cold beer. But yeah.
Oh yeah, an ice cold Miller Lite, baby.
Mhm.
Um, yeah,
Drop like
I've seen a lot of tweets this year though about people because I think October 10th this year. It's either October 10th or 12th. Um, it's rivalry weekend, and there's like five or six really really good matchups that are like prime time,
Mhm.
and people were like, "Bro, I wouldn't go to my own wedding. Are you kidding right now? Like, none of my friends better schedule a wedding for this day because I'm not. I'll tell you right now, I'm not showing up. You know what I mean? There's a good chance, like on a day like that, there's a good chance that I don't put clothes on. Like, I sit in my boxers all day.
Oh yeah.
I wake up at 10 o'clock. I watch. Well, I mean, I wake up earlier, but I get ready. I'm ready to go by 10 o'clock. I'm watching College Game Day. I got College Game Day on up until the games start. I'm cracking a beer immediately, probably before the games
Dude,
start, and I'm not getting up. I'm probably gonna keep the 6 pack next to me on the couch, bag of chips, a little bit of dip somewhere next to me, in my underwear. Nothing else probably.
there are the other thing about college football that I love is there are just so many freaking games.
Mm.
Like, dude, don't get me wrong. I know that like there's a lot of NFL games, but if you really wanted to,
Oh,
you can find a game almost every day for the most part, and also the big Saturdays for sure. But I mean, like, there's always those one-offs during the week too. You're like, what is it, fucking Tuesday?
oh
It's
yeah.
8 a.m. What the hell's going on?
The Maction, getting some of that.
Yeah.
I think the Mac actually died, unfortunately, but uh, yeah, especially in December, like starting early December through like January, the second week of January, there's a football
Mhm.
game on every day of the week, all the time, and
Yeah,
it's
it's a good
amazing.
time.
It's like, you know what it is? It's like an annual Olympics. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? It really is. I mean, it's not. I'm not talking about necessarily like um the things that are happening clearly because it's just all football, but the amount you can just turn your TV on whenever, and you're like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, no, I'll throw this on. That's fine. I'll throw it on in the background. That's what
Dude,
you do with the Olympics.
yeah, it is right. You're just like, I've never even followed this team ever, but you're like, I'll give it a shot.
What is
Freaking
professional thumbtacks? What are we playing here?
yeah. St. Mary Public D2. All right, fuck it. Like just
Well, they
random
had they had, they
things.
had high school football on ESPN the other day. I threw it on.
Yeah.
Somewhat well, it was like 64-12, but I watched it.
See that's the thing though. I feel with college football, there is a chance, like every single week, there's gonna be like, whew, the Ohio State puts up 128 points
Yeah.
versus you're like,
You're
ugh.
like, man, when did they take the starters out after the first drive? You
Exactly.
know what I mean?
So yeah, I think it's an exciting time of year, but it's also exciting to just be back into football in general. The one thing I was going to say too is that again, college football related, but there's just infinite number of highlights too. I feel like with the NFL, if you watch like okay, it's the Monday morning, Sunday afternoon, Monday morning before Monday night football, you've seen all of the highlights already. But with college football, every time you see a highlight reel that's played on ESPN, it's different shit. You're like, I didn't even see that game.
Yeah,
And
who
it's
is that?
just somebody taking
What is
some
that?
shit back 100
McNeese?
yards.
Is
Yeah,
that
exactly.
McNeese versus Campbell
Also,
State University? What the?
and they still they do this in the NFL too, but I feel like in college they pick random things from the audience a lot more too to be on the highlight reels, which is pretty cool.
In
You know what I mean?
college.
Yes.
Oh yeah. Yeah, the cameramen all do a great job in college of finding good content out in the stands. They really do. Sometimes they sometimes they do that in like
They
baseball.
did.
You know where they really are good at finding good things going on in the stands is hockey. They find
Okay,
some crazy things going on in hockey.
I was just thinking about this because we over the past we haven't seen the third one yet, but over the past like two, we do Friday night movie night, and the past like last week we did the Mighty Ducks, and then we did the Mighty Ducks
Oh
2
yeah.
this last Friday. And I just always forget about hockey, dude, and how savage they are, and like how much effort. Like that's a real. Not that football's not, but like they say that hitting a baseball is the hardest thing to do. I mean, I have to agree because statistically it's been proven, but also, man, to skate and
To skate
to
with that speed and that swiftness and be
and
able to
stamina.
place a puck and the way that they dude, I watch quite a bit of hockey toward like the end of the season and the playoffs. And I've seen some crazy stuff. Some people score some crazy goals. This dude went around the back of the goal, back of the net, flicked it flicked it no look between his legs and hit it off the back of the goalie into the net.
Yeah.
What?
I know,
Excuse
dude.
me?
That's what I'm saying. All while moving, and the timing is key. We didn't plan to get into hockey, but it's kind of like lemon icebox pie. If you think about it, dude, the timing is everything
It
because they're
is.
moving so fast that not 1 second, but a couple of seconds difference changes the outcome of everything.
Oh,
And I
dude,
guess baseball is the same way, but
milliseconds.
not quite as much
I
in baseball,
mean,
I
I would
guess.
say milliseconds, dude.
Maybe
I,
so. Also, how the fuck do you see? I was never good at seeing in a football helmet, let alone a fucking hockey mask.
well, a lot
I
of those
guess a
people
lot of
don't
them
wear
don't
anything
cover.
over their
Yeah, you
face.
right. You
They
right.
just, which is the most bold. That would be like going out in the NFL and not wearing a helmet these days. You know
Yes.
what I mean? Like that's ridiculous, dude.
Also, they can just crush each other, dude.
Well, and that'd be like wearing a helmet and not wearing a helmet in the NFL, but also instead of a pigskin leather football, it was a
There's a rock.
hard, yeah, hard rubber disc. You know what I mean? It was a freaking shot put. You know what I'm saying?
uh,
It's just ridiculous.
we were watching it, and Katie was like, "Hey, what did she say? Um,
Emilio.
oh no, Amelia. No, she didn't say that, but um, she was talking. This guy sticked one of the guys or whatever, and I was like, dude, also that in and of itself, like, how much self control I would not have if I had a stick in my hand and I was being outrun. Fuck yeah, I'd be crushing people with it. Like
Yeah,
that's a
no.
lot of like that's about half of learning the sport is just self control, not to whack somebody with this instrument of death you carry around with you.
Yeah, it's like 60% for more or for other people probably more skill, right? But I'd say like it's probably 60% skill of being able to skate and shoot and whatnot. Probably about 20% or maybe like 15% self-control and then 25% like being able to fight, knowing how to fight.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? For some people, I've noticed in hockey, there's some people that don't ever fight, and I understand, I get that. Like those are your better players, you don't want them sitting out. But then you just got to respect the people that are going in just to fight. Like they go in
Oh
and
yeah.
immediately throw their gloves off and they're going.
It's
That's
like a
the other
chess
thing too.
game.
That would be like a boxer getting in the ring and throwing his mitts off and just straight fist to the chin, dude.
I used to have a boss that loved hockey, and he was like, dude, it's the only sport where you can get in a legitimate fist fight, and then they give you a couple of minutes to take a rest afterwards.
Yeah.
Like, and I was like, yeah, it's
I
pretty,
think I'm
pretty
gonna be
legit.
honest. I think football should introduce this. I think it should be introduced because like obviously there was that famed fight between Andre Johnson and Cortland Finnegan. I think like
Mhm.
a decade ago, maybe more now, where I mean Andre beat the hell out of him pretty much, and I just think like, can you imagine the amount of if they were just like you get one per game, like you're allowed to have one scuffle per game
Yeah.
How many wide receivers and cornerbacks would go at it, bro?
Well, also, and then here's the thing: power, but power plays permitting, right? Because in hockey, you don't get off for free.
No, no,
That's
no.
going to create
You
a
play
power
down a
play.
man. You
And
play
then in
down a man.
football, it would create a power play. I'll tell you what it would do. Okay. Um, I don't know how many people are betting on hockey, but it would change the betting world for the NFL.
Oh yeah.
Dude, that would be,
What's the over under
you know,
on Devonte
fucking
Adams getting in a fist fight with so and so this game?
exactly. Um, and maybe I know this isn't fair, but like neither of the rest of the rules, maybe you exclude certain players. You know what I mean? And maybe like you can only fight amongst, I don't know. Maybe that's not fair, but like you can't have a freaking cornerback just get crushed by a tackle or
No, no,
something
no.
like that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, maybe. I mean, sometimes
Dude,
you have to take one for the
speed
team.
versus strength, you know what I mean? I don't know.
Hey, that cornerback gets crushed. They're upper man. They're up a man. They might be down a man, but they can put someone else out there.
Dude,
You know what I mean? They'll
if you
be.
think about it, I would be sending a safety or something to just raise hell against the line so that maybe one of the guys on the line gets the penalty. Okay. And so they
Yeah.
got one less lineman. But here's the deal. You can't change formation though. So wherever the hole's at, the hole is just there, dude. Can you imagine if a guard just had the fucking 2 minute penalty?
You just had you couldn't
Just had
play
a
for
gaping hole in
you
your
couldn't
line.
play for 8 downs or something.
Yeah, dude, that would be crazy.
Yeah, that would
This
be.
is a the people that like got into minor league base, the Savannah Bananas and all that whole thing. They need to get a minor league football that has hockey rules,
The
but obviously no
XFL. The
sticks.
XFL needs to get in on this. The UFL or whatever it is now.
Yeah, but they have half-ass rigid rules, right? I mean,
No, I mean they have rules, but let's open it up a little bit. Let's have a little bit of fun with it. Do it for 1 year, see what happens. I think it
and a
could be
rule can
fun.
be written,
Yeah,
you know.
exactly. The Rock, if you're listening to this, we know you're not, but you know what I mean. If you are, just
There's a chance. You're saying there's a chance.
there's
Listen,
always a
we're
chance.
putting it
It's
out
out
there.
there. It's out there.
Exactly, dude. It's
So,
out there. You never know.
mm-mm. It's just. I mean, I just think it would be something like that. Could be cool. It could be cool. I think the same thing for lacrosse too. I mean, they kind of scuffle, but do they do the power play thing, or do those people just get like put on the sideline for 5 minutes or whatever?
I don't know. This is a good question.
They
I
might
don't
do. They
know
might do
enough
the
about it.
power. They might do the power play thing too.
I
Now
think
that
they
I'm thinking
do. I
about it,
think they do.
but I think it could be cool for. It wouldn't. I mean, you could do it for baseball. I mean, you could do it for any sport, I guess, but it wouldn't really make as much sense in baseball. There's not enough like
Yeah.
contact in baseball. You know what I mean?
No, there's not. We've talked about this. The way to fix that is let them carry the bat with them to the base. But 2 minute minor penalties and 5 minute major penalties in lacrosse.
Yeah. Yeah. Get with the program. Look, we've gone. I'm all about keeping people safe. Okay. The NFL has gone very far in player safety. Um, Even though, in my opinion, it seems like more people have gotten concussed over the past 5 years than I ever noticed in my rest of my life in the
I
NFL.
think that's just because people are getting bigger and people are getting more fit and more muscular and faster. Also, I know this. I'm not saying I figured this out, but if you look at the football players of like the 70s and 80s, even early 90s for that matter, baseball too. Like nowadays, everybody's just so dedicated to it,
Oh
bro.
yeah,
All protein diets, zero muscle. I mean, zero freaking
well, it's because of the money that's
body
in it
fat.
now.
I get it, but like in the 70s and 80s, people weren't getting hurt because in the off season they would literally be drunk for 6 months. Like they just, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they
They
weren't
just
training
they weren't
all the time.
animals. They were just people that were like, yeah, I'm big and I
They're
make
like, well, it
rah.
was like, well, it's the off season. I guess I'll go back to my plumbing job for a little bit.
Exactly.
I just want to go
Yeah.
hang with the boys at work for a little while. Maybe get a beer after work.
Exactly. I'll go back to mine and coal, but that's just not a thing. And now everyone is like everybody is peak, man. It's the same way when you look at the Olympics. We never did a recap on that, but we kind of did. But dude, the records that are being broken now, just look at what's accept. a 9 out of 10 now, and I'm using an arbitrary scale, but a 9 out of 10 now would have easily been a 50 on a scale from 10, 30 years ago.
Right. That's kind of how the scales adjust over time, right?
Yeah, but I'm just
Because
saying,
like
like,
you going back now and like someone does like a triple backflip in gymnastics and it was like a 9.5 back then.
whoop de
And now if you did
doo.
that now these days, it'd be like, what are you even doing here? Like the ray gun, the break dancer that's getting a bunch of flack, bro. Back
Oh
in the
yeah,
'60s and '70s, she probably would have won the event.
yeah,
You know what
you're
I
right.
mean? Maybe she just missed her time. That's all it
I
was.
think I think we all just missed the mark with that one. But you're right. Now it's the critical. Like back then, it was like, can you turn three flips regardless of how you landed? And now they're like, if you could notice that his neck had a
The
slight tilt to the left. And I
the
was like, how
pinky
did you
toe
see
isn't
that? And they're like, oh,
quite
we just, yeah.
pinky toe isn't quite cut enough for this particular landing.
She would have had a 10 out of 10, but she missed a spot shaving the back of her leg. So we're gonna cut. We gotta dock the points. We gotta dock the points.
She wasn't quite as aerodynamic as she could have been
Yep.
for this event.
And you're like, how do you know that? And they're like, because we're obviously watching it in slow motion. And I'm like, that's not fair.
Everything has to be perfect. That is true though, and that going with the Olympics again is like everybody was on the USA men's basketball team
Hmm.
this year because they were like, "Why are y'all struggling so hard? Y'all aren't as good as the Dream Team was back in the '90s or whatever it was, like in the '80s, whenever." And everybody's like, "Yeah, dude, that's because the Dream Team was playing against plumbers from like Italy, dog. Like, what are you talking about? Now
Yeah,
everybody on the face of the planet is good at basketball. Well,
basketball.
every country, I mean, good at basketball. It's a different game now, and that's how you're right. That's how it is in football. But also, there's also the fact that maybe every player back in the day was just constantly concussed, so no one knew.
This is true.
You know what I mean? It would
This is
answer a
true.
lot of questions, that's for sure.
Yeah, you're right. If you're constantly in a state of, at least everybody was proportional because maybe everyone was concussed. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
That's a good
everybody
point.
had a little bit of concussion. You know what I mean? I mean, look at you're telling me that you're
Everybody's doing it.
you're telling me, bro, that I'm haunted. The reason that quarterbacks get so much protection now is because of Tom Brady, because Tom Brady got absolutely destroyed on a play, and they were like, "Oh, we can't have the best quarterback in football going out." You know what I mean? But on that play, I was like, "There's no way he didn't get CTE immediately." He got almost. A lot of people thought he died. I assume. I mean, it was bad. You know what I mean?
I mean,
And
dude, he
like,
made it.
it just like no one gets hit that hard anymore though, and then they get concussed. You know what I mean? And so I'm like,
See,
there's no way that they weren't just living in constant concussion protocol.
back in the 80s and 90s, he would have had a normal diet and he would have smoked cigarettes and drank beer. And so he would have eaten red meat. And so he probably would have been concussed. But
Hmm.
because all he eats is, vegan produce and vegan cheese, he's just a different animal, legitimately, like genetically.
Yeah, he changed his genetics with the food he ate
Hmm.
because he was such an animal. Yeah, no, that's true. And these people now are a lot bigger and stuff, so I get that. But it was just interesting. It's just been interesting to me watching over the past 5 or 6 years or whatever, and I'm like, man, someone gets concussed like every game. It seems like oh, so and so's not coming back with in concussion protocol, and I'm like, did they make the protocol like? Obviously, it's gotten a little more intense, but is it like, hey, can you like not try not to blink for 5 minutes? And someone's like, oh God, oh, you're concussed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean? I want everyone to be safe and whatnot. It's just that's the one thing that does suck about football is the penalties and the constant injuries that have been happening. I feel like.
Yeah. Or like, another, back to one last point, but back to, penalty box, for football. What if like you were fine, you had to sit, but then they lost the head count?
What do you mean?
So like say for instance you got, a fine for a personal foul or for something like that. then they lost that perk. Like there were like you didn't get to come back next week. Like not only did you sit the game out, but the team couldn't fill that position. So like if you were a cornerback
Oh
that got
God.
a personal foul that you were fined for, a finable offense, then the next week when you had to sit out, they couldn't even fill in with another cornerback.
Mm.
You see what I'm saying?
That'd be rough though, because now it's very the NFL is pretty weak now when it comes to that stuff. You know what I mean? You can
What do you
get
mean?
a
Like
you
they're
can get
kind
a fined penalty for like celebrating too long in the end zone.
would it clean the league up though?
No, man, it'd make it weak, man.
It would make it weak, but also people would be a lot more conscious about. I don't give a shit about the celebrating. That's stupid. But as far as like late hits and all those kind of things, I think it make if they really want to double down on safety, which I could give a shit less about, but if they
Mm.
really wanted to double down on safety, that's the way you do it. You penalize actual outcomes,
Yeah.
not money.
Give me somebody getting a late hit, and then a teammate coming and dropping that guy that got the late hit, and that guy getting a 5 minute penalty, and then he's back in the game, baby. That's what I want. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just helmets off. Also, if this ever happens in the NFL, helmets off. Just like hockey takes their helmet and their pat and the jerseys and stuff. Helmets off, straight fisticuffs. Let's get it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I just
Don't
feel like
be.
there's going to be some very unfair matchups.
Oh yeah,
Massively
well,
unfair matchups.
yeah, if you're, you got to step in if your teammates, if your cornerback's going up against a freaking left tackle, you need to step in and not let that happen. You know what I mean? That needs to not happen.
I just
Um,
don't think one last thing. I don't think that would make basketball any more interesting for me.
nah.
I don't think that's a sport that it applies to. And I know a lot of people love
Take too
basketball. I'm
long to
just saying,
clean up the court, too.
mm, why would you have to clean it up,
Blood, dude.
bro? Just let that ride.
No, they can't. It's slippery. They got to clean up sweat off a basketball court, dog. They can't put blood on there.
They gotta fit, dude. All this time we haven't figured out how to take the of the sneakers off the court.
Yeah, that's true. No, we know how to do it. They just won't do it. You just gotta get one of those like outdoor basketball court things. Have like the
Oh
little
yeah, but
hexagon holes in it.
you don't get nearly the bounce. So I'm told. Obviously, I've only played basketball for
No,
15 minutes in my whole life.
you don't. You don't get. Yeah, and most of that was on dirt
Yeah.
in the driveway. So, there's one more thing we wanted to talk about real quick before we get into the end here, and that is that it is back to school season.
It is back to school
Um,
season.
and this is obviously I've been out of the regular school game for a while. We both have. I mean, I'm in college, but it's a little different for college. It kind of is what it is, you know what I mean? But I I've always been curious of how much different it is as a parent for the
Mhm.
back to school, right? Because there's kids that are like, I can't wait for school to start again, go see my friends, or like, I don't really want to go to school. You know what I mean? But you kind of get excited. You start getting all this new stuff for school, your new clothes, your new books, your new bag, stuff like that. But how I just need to hear, what is it
So
like as a parent now?
there's a couple, from my personal experience, there's a couple of different approaches to this. But from my personal experience, there's two fucking holidays that I look forward to. One is like I think we've talked about this, Thanksgiving, and the other is back to school. There's nothing more rewarding in this life than getting all of your time back to yourself unoccupied by energetic children filled with boredom. Okay.
Yeah.
The other thing is this though, like, but my life's a little bit different because like I don't commute and I'm always here. So when they're here, my life stays the same, but with the but with the burden of them being here constantly, right?
Right.
So that's why I look forward to it so much. Also, I just love I'm a creature of routine.
Hmm.
And so during the summer, it's like we're not getting up at 6:15 every day because they don't have to
Yeah.
be at wherever, like, whatever. So for me, it screws up my whole, like, do I need to, does it hurt me to wake up 45 minutes later? No. but it screws up my whole how
Morning.
I get ready for the right. And
Right.
then in the afternoon, because there's nothing happening the next day, a lot of times there's like, hey, can we go do this? And I'm like, nope, I've got work tomorrow. And they're like, but we don't have school. Obviously, Katie,
Mm-hmm.
well, they don't have school. And I'm like, well, all right, y'all can do that. But anyways, so I'm super, super thankful. However, I'm also not a commuter because I will say this. When I was a commuter, back to school was, well, our kids weren't in school then, but back to school as a parent, if I were a commuter, would be very bittersweet because you're pumped up because, yeah, you get your life back because your kids have fucking obligations. But also, you're commuting amongst everyone that's trying to fulfill those obligations, and that
Yeah.
becomes miserable itself. Also, I'm convinced that there right at the beginning of the summer, there's a dip in quality of internet, and then right when everybody goes back to school, there's a dip in quality of internet. And then when everybody's settled in and they kind of like fuck it, they've given up on the year already. So it usually only takes about a month. Everybody's kind of
Yeah.
given up on it, and then you get the normal time. So like it's right now, it's just there's a lot of shit going on. A lot of also I enjoy it, but there's a lot of stuff that leads up to it. It's like be here on Monday at 6:30 p.m. to meet this person. It's like come in at 7 a.m. on the Tuesday prior to shake hands with the bear that's our mascot. And then Wednesday, and you're just like, fuck me. Why can't we just drop them back up? I caught the bus on the first day. Like
Yeah.
why is that not a thing anymore? You know what I mean?
That's so like, I mean, that's just kind of how it was, right? With mom, she was just,
Yeah.
it just, I mean, there was two
Bus is coming
things.
by the house. You figured
There's
out.
there was t- there was two things about school, right? With our mom, and it was one, I woke you up, you can get out there on time, or you better not be late. You better not be late to the bus because we're gonna have a problem if you do.
Yes.
And then second, it was there was no plan hooky. There was
No.
absolutely zero hooky. There was no, hey mom, I don't feel good. If there was an I don't feel good, it was immediately, all right, well, let's go to the doctor. And then the
Yes.
doctor's obviously going to call you on your BS. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So there was just, and it was that I tried maybe like 3 or 4 times in my entire, 12 years of going to school, uh, or I guess 11 years for me. And I was like, I tried like 3 or 4 times. I'd wake up, man. I just really don't like. I don't. And it wasn't even like I don't want to. It was like I really don't need to go. Like we're not doing anything. I know we're not doing anything. I have all A's. Like I don't need to go to school. And
The
mom would always be like, "Well, you need to get perfect attendance." So, and
Yeah,
I was like,
the only times I think honestly, man, this is no bullshit. I think my entire like K through um graduation, I missed probably 4 days of school. Okay.
yeah,
Three of which were by doctor's note. You remember those certain things you would catch where they were like, nope, you got to be out 24 hours. Like we're giving
yeah,
you a shot or whatever, right?
yeah,
Like I would be deathly ill and she would take me and she'd be like, oh, you got staph infection. And
yeah.
like, you can't be around people for 24 hours, whatever. Right. So
And your
those
parent and
three,
your and your mom just goes,
yeah, dude, immediately she'd be like, God damn. And I remember her even asking like, well, if he's had symptoms since yesterday, has it been 24? And they're like, after antibiotics, ma'am. And I
yeah,
still think there were times where like she would just say, fuck it, it's been long enough and send me anyway. But
yeah,
and then I think I took off one time to like go fishing or something like in a tournament or something. But other than that, that's it. And like so that one was the only legitimate one. All the other ones were just straight up that because we had to. Our kids obviously they don't get to choose like they go every day unless it's the same thing. There's a mandated sickness. But ours enjoy it. So we're not in a period yet where they're older and they kind of have that I don't want to go back to school. I think back to school for me will change at that point when they're not ready to go back. But mine, even they get up on Saturday and they're like, "Can we go to school today?" And I'm like, is your home life that bad? Like we don't do anything bad. Like what are
what do
you
you,
talking about?
why do y'all
And they're like,
hate
"No,
it
we
here?
just
We don't
yeah."
we do a lot of fun stuff.
They're like, "I'd just rather be at school." And I'm like, "Keep that up because eventually we're going to be having the opposite fight where I'm just going to be dragging them out of bed. And even on days where they don't want to get up, they're really pumped once they leave, you know?"
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah, back to school has now shifted from like a, for me, obviously not to like a parent thing, but to a traffic thing
mhm.
where I'm like, okay, well, it's 3 o'clock. We can't go down this road because schools get letting out. So We're gonna be stuck in traffic for a long time, which is really conflicting now where I live because we got traffic all the time on the main road in and out, and then any
Mhm.
road you try to take to cut around said traffic goes through a school zone. So
Dude, that's the thing. Like, it's not even the big city. Like, if you're city commuting, it's always shitty. But like, if I was like just jumping on like 45, like main 45, headed from one, Conroe to my house, I don't think it'd be that bad. It's the inner towns. Like, once you get close to home, that gets shitty. You
yeah,
know what I mean? Like putting around town that is what becomes miserable. I mean, don't get me
mm-hmm.
wrong, freeways get a little heavier too, but parents may be commuting later or whatever, commuting earlier, maybe, I don't know. But
You know what I've noticed too though is that traffic doesn't really get better like once kids are in school. And it's
no,
made me wonder, what are all these people doing?
just taking
Right?
breaks from their kids. That's
No,
what
but I'm
it-
saying like what I mean I realize not everyone goes to work, right? And a lot of
Oh, I
people
see
work
what you're
from home.
saying. Yeah, I
But
get what you're
like
saying.
why is it so backed up at 12 at noon? I mean, I guess noon is like lunch, but at like 1:30 on a Thursday, or like
Yeah,
a Tuesday, where are all the what are y'all doing? Where are all these people?
I don't know, but that is a good point because there's only so many people in the service industry, right? There's only so many service technicians for like electrical and for plumbing and for,
Yeah,
but I mean, delivery, I don't know. I don't know I think it's just the size of the city. Like, I
I
think,
guess, man. I guess it's just too many people, and obviously a lot of stay-at-home parent. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of stay-at-home parents that are, doing the whole kid thing all the time, which I get and respect. But at the same time, like, are all of y'all stay-at-home parents? Like, there's no
yeah.
way
And
that all of y'all don't have like a job to go to or something right now.
yeah, it's an alarming volume.
It is. It really is. And so it really doesn't get any better. But yeah, it's school back to school has shifted from. There was a couple years there where I was like, oh man, like I don't have to go to school. Hell yeah, you know what I mean? Back
Yeah.
to school, we can go like out to lunch and it won't be packed somewhere. But that's just not the case very much anymore. So,
No,
mm.
no, that's definitely not.
All right. Well, it is time for us to get into the WWYBDs, and I'm gonna throw you under the bus first.
All right. So, dude, and I don't know if it's because it does have a slight creaminess to it, but this to me is a Christmas beer.
Oh, really?
Yeah. This is a read a book. I think I've talked to you about this before. I used to like sit, read a book with a fire, and during that holiday season where it's really cold at night, I'd turn on in the background. I'd turn on some supermarket sweep. I would just read me a book and have a hot tea. I could see myself around a fire, which is weird drinking this, and I think it's because of that buttery, nutmeggy, allspice graham crackerness that's in it. You know what I mean? It has like a
I get
ginger
it because of the
snap.
graham. I get it because of the graham crackerness a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, it has like a ginger snapness to it. Um, and I don't know, the lemon just fits well. So
Hmm.
yeah, to me, it's a Christmas beer. Late at night with a fire in that
Interesting.
weird December 20th through 25th
Oh
kind of
wow,
situation.
like literally
Yeah,
Christmas. Okay.
yeah,
Um, that's not. I mean, I don't necessarily. I don't see like super hot weather. I see really comfortable weather. Um, I'm at a golf club. Like those. Those like clubs that have like a nice outdoor like back deck that overlooks kind of the golf course. You know what I'm talking
yeah.
about?
Like the
That's what I'm
18 runs
doing.
right into that one. Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I'm doing. I'm on that. There's a fire going, like a little propane fire going on the deck. I'm with the
Okay.
boys. Maybe we just finished a round. Maybe we're chilling, having a beer before we go home. But it's sunset for sure. Sun's going down. Or maybe it's just like an event there. You know what I mean?
Would
Maybe
you
maybe
would
I'm
you
there. Maybe
drink?
it's like do I?
Does it have to be before or after?
I mean, it's sunset, so I'm not getting ready to play golf.
Okay. Okay. I
Unless I'm
just
playing with glow in the dark balls.
because I would never drink this remotely close to a golf course. It's just weird.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to say never because it's not bad,
I
but you know what I mean.
I mean, yeah, I'm not about to play golf. This is like a
Okay.
very much like a chill unwind type thing for me. Um, I just see like I can see the sunset setting over the maybe there's like a little water like a pond right there, a little water hazard. I
I
just
feel you.
that's the vision I get. I'm chilling with the boys. Either yeah, like I said, either post round or maybe there's like something going on up there. I don't know, but that's what I'm doing. All right, we can get into the ratings now. I can go ahead and go first for this.
Sweet.
Um, this was almost a 4 all the way across the board for me. Uh, so
Okay.
entry and aftertaste, I have a 4. It's I I love sours,
Hmm.
and it's this was very good. It's better than like middle of the road, obviously. Um, it's pretty much exactly what I expected, but didn't overdo it for me. Um, a body, I have a 4. It's great taste. Nothing good, nothing bad. Color, I have a 4. It was a little cloudy. Think it's always hard for me to tell in the videos. I don't ever get to pour it out.
It's pretty cloudy.
So I can't get to see it in person and really assess. But yeah, it looked a little cloudy. It could have been a 3 for that, but I'm gonna give it the craftiness benefit of the doubt here. Bitterness, I have a 5. Acidity, I have a 5. I think I I don't really see 18 IBUs in this, which is kind of
Yeah.
the only reason it doesn't get a 6. Um, because I think it's a little inaccurate, but it's pretty much a perfect sour bitterness that I'm looking for. Acidity, same thing there. I mean, it's pretty dang close. It's lemony. It's greatly but it's not like too lemony because it's a lemon icebox pie sour. You know what I mean? You get that creaminess, so it kind of offsets it a little bit. And then fizz, I have a 4. I had a few burps right at the beginning. Didn't have a lot toward the end, like you did just now, but they were all pleasurable, all great tasting, nothing bad, nothing painful or anything like that. So my total is a 30.
Whoa.
Definitely not a fridge sitter. Would buy again, would drink again for sure. And honestly, one of the beers that I would seek out. Like, there's going to be a time where I'm craving this beer and I'm going to go look for it. So,
Yeah. It's one of those ones that is a craver. I think now that we've had a little bit of the taste, there's
mm,
going to be a time in the future where we're going to be like, oh damn, we really set this off
yeah,
right
yours
now.
is probably going to be in like 5 months, supposedly. So,
Yes.
yeah. So,
So entry, I liked it overall as well. I do wish it was a little creamier. I know that sounds weird because we talked about sometimes lemon icebox doesn't have, but I think for a sour, it would have elevated in more categories had it been creamier and have a thicker mouthfeel and a little more sweetness to it. But anyways,
you know,
entry I have it a 3. So not bad beer by any means, but entry I have it a 3. Aftertaste I have it a 3. It's a solid sour. It's lemony. It's got the graham cracker. Like it does deliver on what it set out to do. But for me, it's just like kind of right there in the middle. Body as well is just kind of a 3. Could have used some thickness. Could have used some, like I said, creaminess. Color I have it a 3. I contemplated a 2 because it is pretty ugly looking. But you know what? I don't taste the color, so it's neither here nor there. So I've got it at a 3.
yeah.
Um, when I get into bitterness and acidity, I agree with you. I think bitterness easily I could have been at a 4, but I had it at a 3 because it was with the lemon that was in there and with the graham cracker that was in there. But acidity, I do have a 4. Like it was a little more than what I think would have been standard quo considering we've kind of just been level across the board. I mean, it's a solid sour. And it's a creative sour, and it doesn't get too out of bounds either. I'm not like, oh, fucking, ugh, I can't do the graham cracker. I can't do the lemon. Now, fizz, I do have a straight up 6. And here's the deal,
Wow.
dude. I have never had, maybe it's because of the lemon, maybe because it's a sour, right? Which have a tendency to be bubblier and be more chest filling. But dude, they started well. They're inconvenient for the sake of a podcast, but they're convenient otherwise.
Yeah.
So my total score only comes to it comes to a 25. Very solid beer. Not a fridge sitter. I will recommend. I will seek again, but I think for me it's just seasonally misplaced, and there's no other way to put that. I mean, I'm not that I wouldn't enjoy it right now, but I just think I I'm not saying this for sure, but had I had this in December, you could easily say maybe I would be a 32. I don't know.
Yeah. That's really odd because I don't ever like come Christmas time, cold weather starts hitting, I don't ever see myself drinking a sour. So it's really interesting to me.
I think it's just because it's like a little treat, dude. We're all indulgent when the holidays come. I
Yeah,
like little tarts. I like,
that's
my
fair.
lemon icebox pie, or lemon icebox, lemon, whatever,
Lemon
lemon
squares.
ice. Yeah, lemon squares, dude. Like that's an indulgence that I love in cold weather. I don't know why. I mean, they're good in the summer too, but I love them in the cold weather. Like tacky,
That's fair.
stick between your teeth. Anyway, yeah,
That's
it's
fair.
good. Martin House did not let down.
No, they did not. All right, we've gotten to that point in the podcast where I'm going to tell you to go follow us on social media on Twitter and TikTok at Off the Tap Pod, and on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at Off the Tap Podcast.
You do you. Celebrate your own holidays.